Hello and welcome back to my craft room. I have got an interesting one for you today, at least I think it is. So some of you will have watched the little mini series I did making danglers out of scrap fabric, slow stitched little doodads to hang on a tree or in a window or wherever you like, whether for the festive season or all year round. Now, I made these out of scraps from my beautiful Bazaar scrap packs. I will put a link to Bazaar below because people always ask about it. But I did say at the time you could make these with whatever you've got. Try using old t-shirts. It might be a fun way to use Christmas jumpers that you don't wear anymore. Have a look at what you've got. You can make any kind of fabric work. I will link to the playlist where I made the danglers as well. I think I put them all on the Bazaar playlist actually, and you'll find them at the top. I said at the time you could make them with anything, and I even said kind of half jokingly, wouldn't it be fun to make them with old knickers and things? Use your old underwear. And how fun it would be to festoon your Christmas tree with beautiful things that were actually made out of your old knickers, and wait for people to say, well, they're lovely, what did you make those with? Anyway, just got it into my head that it'd be fun to actually try doing that, so I am going to do that today. I'm going to challenge myself to make old knickers into something pretty. Goodness knows what my thumbnail's going to look like. Unfortunately, obviously I'm not going to cut up underwear that's any good. I'm only going to cut up underwear that I'm done with. Not the kind of thing you really want to give to the charity shop. All of my old underwear is all black, which was a bit like, oh. But then I thought, well, okay, we'll use it as a foil to use really bright colour threads on, and that would be really fun. But, you know, if you had bright coloured underwear and stuff, if you had really pretty lacy bras that aren't sort of good enough that, you know, you're all done with for whatever reason, perhaps they don't fit you anymore, and they're not good enough to give to charity, what a fun way to use them, because some of them are so pretty, aren't they? So all of the, you know, like the little humbug squishies and things, the little heart shapes and stuff, they look so pretty, made out of little lacy bras. Nobody would ever know. So let me show you what I've got in mind. Let's see how this works out. I've done a couple of prototypes I'm not completely happy with, just to get going, but it'll give me a chance to show you what I've kind of, where my head's going. I'm going to use some of this Rhapsody thread that I got really cheap from AliExpress just recently. It cost me just under £3 to get all of these in this beautiful box. Number 8 Perle cottons, and I'm going to use these today to try them out. So I've not tried them out yet. They look okay, they feel okay, so let's see how they actually stitch. Here's the prototypes that I've made. So this is just using plain black knicker fabric, and then I just went nuts, and I've got some sequins, I've got an odd box of beads, sort of scooped up a few things that were lying about on my desk, to be honest. Some of these have come out of Bazaar packs, some have just I've had for ages, broken necklaces. These threads actually came out of a Bazaar pack, but other than that, and these two danglers, so they were two danglers that I didn't use. Now, one of these is this little bird, and I've been meaning to try making little birds like this. I found a couple of videos that look really good, and I actually shared them in the Facebook group. You might have seen them. So I thought I'm going to have a go at making one of these little birds out of old knickers as well. So I've made this one with all the sort of bits and pieces all over it. I just think it's a bit too bitty. I'm not sure what I don't like about it, but I don't. I think maybe if I just kept on stitching and stitching and stitching, I'd like it in the end. I'm a bit happier with these. So these I made just like the other balls that I made initially, just little circles of fabric that I gathered up and stuffed, and then this one I wound some of the gold thread around and then couched it down, and this one I just did straight stitching all around it. And I quite like the look of it. To me, in a way, these colours are making me think of the whole the Day of the Dead kind of colours. I think it'd look really fun if you imagine them strung up together like this. Oh, I found these. I can't even remember where they came from. They might have been in a pack someone sent me, these lovely colourful tassels. But you could easily make these out of stranded cotton or perle thread. Tassels are ever so easy to do. I did show tassels in the Danglers series as well. A bit chunkier tassels than this, made out of strips of fabric, but same principle, exactly the same principle. So yeah, I can string them up like this and make more danglers, or I thought this time I might just make a long kind of garland of them. We'll see how I go. So I've got some stuffing to use because I have got loads of this to use up. But if you haven't got this or don't want to use it, you could use orts. If you've got orts staved up, you could reuse the stuffing from old cushions and pillows. You know, use whatever you've got. Or some few more sparklies there. I'm quite looking forward to getting into this. My old knickers are all black, and these are the kind of ones I'm gonna put in. They're either, they're like this. I've got them because they're part of a set, but I don't really like wearing this synthetic-y stuff next to my skin, so these have basically not been worn. But I don't feel right giving knickers to charity shops. I reckon the lace, because the lacy bit's really pretty, if you had some bright colour fabric that you could lay that over, layer it up and make some of the little pillows with, I just think that could look so pretty. But I will keep this lace anyway because I'll use it for something. Same kind of thing, it's this synthetic-y fabric. I just hate wearing it. So, and then there's ones like this that are just too ridiculously small for me now. So I don't ones like this where like the elastic is completely gone. They were quite nice those, but you know. So that's quite shiny stuff. Some of it's cotton. What I've used here is cotton. I'll maybe try cotton first just because it will probably show on the camera better. The camera won't like recording black anyway, it won't like it. It won't enjoy that at all. So I'm going to cut all of this lace off in one piece first because I just think it's really pretty lace. Never thought I could be cutting up old knickers on camera, but you know. Now, so the other bits and pieces that I've picked all kind of remind me, next to the black, they kind of remind me of the sort of Day of the Dead style things. Yeah. And some little bells and things I might do as well. Right, so that's the lace retrieved. I will put that away with all my trims and stuff. And then I'm gonna, so I can actually get a few of these little pieces out of this one pair of knickers, even though it's not the biggest. Certainly not my biggest. I'm just going to now cut some squares out of this, which I can then trim into circles. I'll just do that and I'll be back. So here we go. I've cut a few little squares out of my old knickers, and now all I need to do is trim those into rough circles. Don't need to be too persnickety about this. I could get my yo-yo makers, my Suffolk puff makers out, but I'd have to go into the other room for that. And I think these will be easy enough to just do without the puff makers. But if you've got them, definitely it would work. So there we go. I'm just going to cut a rough circle up that you can see it's not a perfect circle. Save the bits for stuffing. Whoops. Oops, that got a bit small as I was going around. Look. This one might turn out a bit too tiny, it'd be like a tiny bead, but never mind, let's keep going. And hopefully you'll have been able to see from these will have worked out perfectly, and you'll have been able to see from the thumbnail. So as you watch this, you know better than I do whether this worked out or not. It's usually the case with a project like this that I just get an idea into my head, make it up as I go along, film the process. Just rounding off the last one, because I think these will be enough for me to do. I wish I had some more fun colours of knickers, but I just haven't, or I didn't at the stage when I bought these, because they'd look so fun in really bright colours. But I'm not going to go and buy knickers specially to cut up, obviously. 2 needles, reasonably long straight ones with reasonably big eyes, because it makes it easier for me to thread, especially when I come to use the perlé thread for decorative stitching in a minute. People often comment that I use quite big chunky needles. I do. It's partly so you can see it better on camera. It's partly so I can grip it, because I do struggle to grip these days, especially if I'm doing something for a long time. And also with these long needles I can take lots of stitches at the same time. So I'll just make a knot to start me off, double stitch, and I'll run a small neat gathering stitch quite closely. I'm going quite close to the edge, just a couple of millimetres away from the edge. You can't see that very well, black thread on black fabric, so I'm going to skip to the end where I've done this gathering stitch. It's nothing difficult, you can see there. I'll just go around like that, and because I've got this quite nice long needle, I can take a few stitches at the same time like that. So I will work my way all the way around, and then when I'm ready to do the stuffing bit, the next step, I'll be back. Gathered all round, and I've brought the thread to the outside and started to pull up this little shape. I know you can't see very well because it's black. Another reason I wish I had more colourful knickers. And now I'm going to start filling it up, and I find it the easiest way is to start filling it, gather it up a little bit, then grab some more stuffing, push a bit more in. You always need more than you think you're going to, and I want it to be quite firmly stuffed so it makes a really nice round ball. I was intrigued to watch Ammo on PawfectPastimes. I'll try and remember to leave a link to her. PawfectPastimes. She's doing a vlogmas at the moment. I really enjoyed watching her the other day and thinking I'm not the only one with 5 million projects on the go at the same time. Anyway, in a previous video to that, she was showing different kinds of not tamari balls. These were kind of fabric, kind of textile balls that were covered in all different kinds of ways. Really interesting, actually. Quite fancy having a go at stuff like that. And she'd got them all in a tall glass jar. They looked really good. All different ways, different kinds of textile techniques and things, different kinds of stitching and fabrics and things. Yeah, really interesting. I think it was called Not Tamari balls, something like that. I also want to do more of the these no-sew fabric cover balls that Sue showed me how to do when we met with her in Leeds. We went to her studio in Leeds. Look at this, I got such a buzz out of doing this, all made out of little 4 centimetre, I think it's 4 centimetre, maybe 5 centimetre squares, folded and just attached with pins. No sewing, no gluing. Brilliant. Yeah. And Sue's got videos of bits on her channel, Sue Matt Art, or Sue Matthews. I think Sue Matt Art is her tag on YouTube, is Sue Matthews. I'll try and remember to leave a link to both of them. Right, so I'm just now, I've stuffed that out, I think, as much as I need to. I've got a nice round ball shape, and I'm gathering it up and then putting some kind of anchoring stitches in, and I'm going back and forth across the gap to make sure it's nicely closed up and evenly gathered. Oh, I keep pulling the thread out the needle. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that. Nice little ball shape. So you can see the gathers there. You've got a lovely smooth ball shape, and by the time I've got all of the stitching on, you won't notice the gathers anymore. So what I'm planning to do is some of them will just have straight stitching on that, because I just love the look of that. And as I say, if you had a more exciting colour than black, it would probably maybe look prettier, but I quite like the bright threads against the black. Let's just fasten this off now. Some of them I'm going to cover with sequins, or at least dot a few sequins around. Quite liked putting the random objects on this one, and they're just stitching into them in different ways. Yeah, I just sort of, there was no rhyme or reason to it. I just grabbed a button or a sequin or a stack of sequins and stitched and stitched and stitched away, and really enjoyed doing it. Just not sure about the overall effect. It looks a bit bitty. I feel like I want some chunkier bits on there maybe. I don't know. But once they're all strung together, I think they'll probably look good. I've got some of these big kind of flower shaped sequins I've had for ages. I'm going to put some of those on the bigger ones as well. I think that could look good. These came out the Bazaar packs. I think I could definitely add some of those on. So yeah, and then maybe add tassels on them as well, and just string them all together. We'll see. So this one's all ready now I've stitched through a few times, so I think that's pretty safe. I think I probably could have stuffed that even more, but that'll do for now. So it's time to do the bit I really enjoy, which is the decorative stitching, and I get to try out these threads for the first time. Lime green and purple, lime green and pink. It's got pretty, isn't it? Shades of pink. Always have pink and orange too. So that's spot for choice now. I'm going to go pink and orange. Okay, let's try them. Let's see how these threads hold up. Well, that one's unravelling itself already. Okay, I'm going to make a small knot to stop it pulling through, but that knot will end up getting cut off. I'm going to go in. Actually, I'm just going to go in here from anywhere. I'm going to go in anywhere in the ball and just come up near this opening. This where I've gathered it all up, rather. Do a double stitch to start me off. And then go under and come up a little bit further along. And now I can cut the knot off. So pull it up a bit, and then when I cut it, it'll shrink back inside the ball. There we go. And I can now just enjoy the relaxing process of covering this ball with straight stitches. I'll just do straight stitches for this first one, and then I'll try something a bit fancier for the next one. Come to the end there. I could go around in a spiral, but I'm going to do more like concentric rings. I'm pulling this stitching in reasonably firmly because it will help, as I go down, it will help to sort of smooth out all those gathers and keep that lovely ball shape. And it's such a lovely little shape to stitch into because you've got something to hold on to. It's really nice. You get the gist. And then I'll cover up that gathered point in a minute with perhaps a little button or sequin or whatever. So I think I will go all the way down with this orange, and then I'll go to the pink and do a row of pink in between. So I challenge you. See what you can make with your old knickers. Next time you're going to throw a pair of old knickers away, stop, think, can I make something pretty with them? I'm going to have used them for dusters and things because they're lovely soft fabric. If they're cotton ones, by the time you get to throw them away, you've washed them a lot of times, and so the fabrics become really soft. So they're nice for to use as rags in the craft room in the art, with your paint supplies and things, dusting around the house. Never throw your old knickers away. You can see that stitching is now starting to pull in the top of that ball shape, so it's sort of belling out a bit at the bottom. I don't know if you can see that, but once I do all the stitching on this bottom half, it'll all come in. It'll help to firm everything up and keep that lovely smooth ball shape. So I am sort of, each time I'm pulling it reasonably firmly. Okay, I'll carry on working around this and do the pink rows, and I'll make another ball and then come back and show you another stitch I'm going to try. Or maybe for the top of this one, I've got these little buttons. I think maybe one of these little buttons would look cute, so I'll just stitch that on. These big ones are too big for these small balls, but they might be nice on here. Well, I finished going around with my orange thread and then realised that when I clipped the end off, I managed to clip a hole in the fabric, which is really annoying. So I'm going to stitch a little sequin over it. So I've just brought the thread up there where the hole is, threaded a sequin on, And I think I'm hoping that I can attach it with a French knot if I make it chunky enough. I'm going to wind that round 3 times instead of just the once, and then bring it up somewhere else, because now I'm going to have to dot some more sequins around. I can't just have that one there. And I think that should be enough to keep it on. So that's quite cute. Anyway, necessity is the mother of invention, as they say. So let's dot some more of them around. So yeah, it seemed to work quite well to wrap it around once, twice, 3 times. Bring my needle down. I can't show you very well because of the black background situation, and then go back through the hole and bring it up elsewhere. Yeah, that's making a big enough knot to make sure that sequin doesn't come off. I think that's going to look quite cute like that anyway. There we go. So I'm going to dot some around like that, and I think I will still do I made a pig's ear with that, didn't I? Where's the end? I still can't see the end. I cut from that end instead then. I'm enjoying using the thread very much. It's really nice. I'll maybe dot, I don't know, perhaps 5 or 7 sequins. I don't know, I like odd numbers around. I'll stick to colours that sort of go. If I run out of this orange thread, which I will, I'll wait until I've finished doing the pink stitching, and I'll use the rest of that thread up to stitch on the remaining sequins. Oh, I didn't do a very good job of that. That's going to be a messy knot. It's okay, it will do, it will do. In my defence, it's very awkward doing it held out at arm's length. I can maybe get one more, and then I'll do the pink stitching. And I need to remember to finish off with a button up there. I think that's going to look really cute. I like it. I think in the next one I might try doing some Y-stitch running downwards in different colours. I think that could look quite cute. And then I might do another one with just sequins all over, possibly. Don't know. See how I feel. Quite enjoying this at the moment. But I'm sure you could come up with all sorts of different variations on this idea. Just wanted to come back and show you what I'm doing with the sequins, really. I'll go back to plan A now and do the pink stitching. Well, I don't believe it. I've just shown you how I've done this little lazy daisy with the sequin in the middle and finished off with a little button. And I didn't push start record, which is really annoying. You can kind of see what I've done there. Well, let's see if I can get it to focus again. Camera just really hates this. I think it does look quite, I hope you can see there. I think it does look quite cute. I think you can kind of see what I'm doing there. I've just dotted the sequins around, attached them on with little French knots in the middle, like I showed before. Finally finished off by adding a button where all that gathering is. I'm gonna do some more and run stitches perhaps down this way instead. I think some Y stitching down here in different colours could look really cute. I want to do one of the larger balls and add some of these bigger pieces like this and some of those daisy shaped sequins as well. So I'm going to make a few more of the balls. I'll attach some of these tassels to them just because I've got them really, and I want to have a go at one of the birds. I don't want to make this video super long, so I think I've shown you enough of the gist of the balls because that's pretty straightforward. You can just go nuts and stitch whatever you like on there really, whatever beads and sequins, whatever stitches you like doing. So I think I'm going to do them off camera because it's too difficult to show the stitching on these very well with it being a black background. But I did want to have a go at doing one of the birds. I'll leave a link to the video that I found showing how to make them, but it's pretty straightforward. So I need to cut up some more pants now. I'm starting off with a square again, and I'm going to fold it in half, well, a rough square. I'm going to fold it in half like that. This is going to be my own kind of not perfect version of this. This is going to be quite big actually. I'm wondering if it's going to be too big. Let's just cut that down a little bit. So I started off with a square and I'm just rounding that front end off a bit. And I need a little scrap of bright colour. Right, I've just got this little snippet of bright colour fabric. I think this will do it. Going to need some matching thread. So I've just folded it in half, folded it down like that. That'd be too big, so I've folded it in half again. It's quite thick, but hopefully I can make that work. And I need to put this inside like that. And I'm going to start stitching there because I just want to make sure I've got that all enclosed. I'm leaving quite a bit of it sticking out on the outside here, which will become the inside. So just starting with a few stitches here, just over and over the same place, just to make sure that's really nice and strong there. Okay, not quite sure I've ended up with that in the same place, but we'll soon find out. I'm going to use a back stitch here, and not only does black not show up too well on camera, but it's quite hard for your eyes to see black thread against black fabric as well, isn't it? So I will definitely remember to link that video where I saw a lady making these, because she's showing it much better than I am here. I'm going to just stitch all the way around now. Well, not quite all the way around. I'm going to leave an opening here to stuff it. Right, I'm going to stop stitching there and leave that for the opening. I should probably have watched the video again before I did this, because I've kind of forgotten now how this goes. Right, fingers crossed. Oops, a little beak popping out. Oh, look. Cute. Oh, he's a bit bigger than he needs to be. Definitely, I can definitely use smaller squares for this. Okay, so now what I can't remember is, because I know obviously I've got to stuff it before I close this bit up. I think I probably should have left the opening somewhere else, because I've got to enclose the tail somewhere here as well. Okay, well, let's just go for it. I might as well use all of these offcuts to stuff it with, at least partially. I think I definitely want to come back and try these birds in some brighter colour fabrics that will show better for you on camera as well, because that is really quite cute, quite satisfying to do. I need to add some little beads on for eyes, don't I? I think. Add some stitching. I could look quite, you know, add some sort of folk arty kind of embroidery on here. It's like a blackbird, this one. Not just because it's black, it's blackbird shaped. Yeah, it does have, I think because of the black background, it does have that kind of folk art feel. Reminds me a little bit of bargeware as well, if you know bargeware painting. You know, when they paint on enamelware. Well, I don't think I'm going to be able to add the fluff for the tail, because I've left the opening in the wrong place to do that. I think I should have closed up, I should have left the opening here. I should have, yeah, that would have made more sense, because now it's going to be a little bit awkward to close this tail shape as well. But I'll work it out somehow. Tuck those ends all in and do a little overstitch to close it. I was going to just use a little bit of this fluff or something to make the little tail this one I'll just leave without. I'll just leave it without, and I'll add lots of stitch into it. But for future ones, I will stitch down there, enclosing a little bit of fluff or some little trimmings, a little fringy bit of fabric or something to make the tail. A bit like you can see they've done there, just a frayed out bit of fibre. I could just stitch it on as they've done there actually. But yeah, I could have stitched down from the tail and around the head and just left an opening here instead. I think would have made more sense, would have made it easier to close up. There we go, here's my little bird. Definitely could be smaller ones as well. I'm gonna do a little bit of the embroidery on this, and then I will finish the rest of these off camera, I think, because it's just not working very well to film them on the black. I don't think it's going to be very useful for anybody, so there's no point in making this super long. So I'll aim to do where shall I do a flower? Here on the chest. I love that, how that little shape worked out. Very happy with that. You can kind of shape it a bit as well in your hands, you know. So let's just give myself a little anchoring stitch. Go back through the loop to make a knot, and now I'm going to make lazy daisy stitches. So I'll just go back in kind of where I came out, and then come up in the direction I want the petal to go. Pull it all the way through, making sure the needle comes out on top of the loop. I'll show that a bit better in a minute. So then I'm going back down very close to that to just catch that loop and hold it down, and coming back up at the centre again, just a little bit further along where I want the next petal to start. So making a loop out in the direction I want my petal to go, back in very close to where I came out, very, very close, and then back out again in the direction I want the petal to go, making sure the needle's coming out over the top of that loop that I've made. Pull it all the way through. They're just little detached chain stitches like that, and then another small stitch to anchor it back out at the centre a little bit further along where I want the next petal to start. Do one more. Back in close to where I came out, laid a loop in the direction I want my petal to go, brought the needle up over the top of the loop, pull it through. I'm doing this at such an awkward angle, it's ridiculous. Hopefully you could see that a little bit. Combination of my ineptitude, holding it out at arm's length, black background. So I'm going to go all the way round now till I come full circle. I'll just whip round and do that a minute and I'll be back. Last one going in now. You can see it's not perfect, but it doesn't matter, it doesn't need to be. This is slow stitching, not perfect embroidery. So I've brought that thread out now in the centre, and I just need to finish it off with a sequin. Let's choose one of these limey green ones as a bit of a contrast to see how that looks. Yeah, quite like that. So I make my little French knot for the middle. Big fat French knot. 1, 2, 3. I'm just bringing that out the other side. There we go. I might, on this side, I'll just do 3, perhaps, so it'd be like a half open flower. I just do a little spray like that rather than go the whole way around. And I'll just do a slightly smaller French knot to finish off there. I could just make loads and loads of birds out of old knickers. Love that. 4 and 20 blackbirds. Shall I see if I can make 4 and 20 blackbirds out of old knickers? Let's do a bit of Y stitch down here. So with Y stitch you come down like this and you go back up again. Kind of level with the previous one. Well, it depends on what you want it to look like. You can vary the angle. I think it's Y stitch anyway. Y stitch, fly stitch. I'll get them muddled up. Oh, I've just cut a hole in the fabric again. Done it again. There we go. So I'm going to stop it there. I'll have to put a sequin or something there to hide that. Yeah, I'll just tart it up. I'll just end up putting a sequin there to hide where I've. Well, let's just put. We might as well do it now, I suppose. Come up where that hole is. I wouldn't do that if I had it up under my nose like I would normally be working. But it is very difficult holding it out at this strange angle. You get the gist. I will just go nuts and have fun embroidering on those. I'll probably put little beads for the eyes as well. Not cut a hole in it this time. We need to pull it up a bit tighter. And then when you let go it will spring back inside. So I might even take that out and decide I want to do a slightly better job of that, but I think it's going to look quite cute. I think you can see it's going to look quite cute. I'm going to finish a few more of these now off camera, but as I say, I don't think it's going to be hugely helpful showing you too much more of this in the black in the black knicker fabric. I'm just trying to get a little thumbnail now. I think that is going to be the best picture I can get. That's not bad now. So I'm going to come back a different day, I think, and try some more of those. Perhaps I might have some old t-shirts that you could do a similar thing, because it's kind of a similar fabric. Because I'd like to do them. I'd like to be able to show you a bit better, but it's clearly not going to work too well showing you on the black fabric. But I promise you, in real life, they look really fun, and I really fancy doing a whole flock of blackbirds, 4 and 20 blackbirds, made out of knickers. Dear dare me! I challenge you. I challenge you. Oh, it looks quite cute there. I challenge you to find an old pair of knickers and make something pretty out of it. Do it and show me some pictures in the Discord community or Facebook group. They're both free to join. I'll put the link tree is always in the description boxes for my videos these days, so do join us there if you haven't already, and show us what you can make with your old knickers. Okay, I'm going to go now and see if I can cobble this together into a reasonable video. I hope you found it useful. Sorry, it's a bit frustrating. I couldn't really show things very well. I just got this idea that I wanted to do it. Maybe should have waited till I got some more colourful pants to play with. I would love to see what other people can make with their pants. Pants in America is trousers, isn't it? I mean, knickers, underwear. Underwear. I think that's what you can call it, underwear in the States. I'm really going now. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you ever so much for joining me, and I'll see you again really soon. Bye.